Damn, I hate a shy bitch.
All right, welcome back, Forever Shot, Never Shot. You checking in right now, Forever Shot Terry. Got a special guest in the building today, Nate Randle, a.k.a. Real Estate Nate, a.k.a. the Chicago GOAT of real estate right now because you just closed a crazy, crazy deal. Tell us about that right now.
Yeah, man. So a couple weeks ago, we just closed on a 15-unit, 5-building deal on the west side of Chicago. And so it's about 10 minutes outside of downtown, and to date, it's the biggest deal so far. And just more opportunities, growth opportunities to continue progressing down that path and just taking it to the next level, man.
So when you say five building, 15 units, is it 5 separate buildings? Like, how does that?
Yeah, so it's actually a corner building, right? And so the way it works is like it's on Jackson. So there's 3 buildings on Jackson, 1, 2, 3, and then the cross street behind those 3 buildings is 2 more buildings. So each one of those buildings has 3 units, 1, 2, 3. 3 on the front, 2 on the side. So yeah.
Okay, so they all kind of connected or like together?
No,
or?
so you can't they're just all next to each other. You can't go into one building and go into the other. So it's 5 different addresses. It's just the person I bought it from, they had that.
They had all of them.
They had all of them, yeah. And they got other properties too, right?
Right.
And really that's how I ended up closing in on it. Most of their properties were more north.
Right.
And this was the only one they had on the west side. So it's like the guy's like, man, I have to come down so much, and he was, self-managing, everything. So
Absolutely.
he was like, yeah, I got to keep coming down. It's just not conducive to what I'm trying to do. So yeah, it was easy to kind of work with him to get a good deal on it. Yeah.
Right. Okay. And how much does a deal like that cost?
Man, that's $1 million deal.
It's $1 million deal.
Yep. Just shy of $1 million, man. It was like $950.
$950.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow. $950,000. How old are you?
27.
So 27 years old, you just closed almost $1 million deal.
Absolutely. And that's for real, right? Like, shout out to my team. I got people that's with me that have seen the things kind of progressing from early on and say, hey, I want to be a part of that. And so I got a really good team, and everybody's like homegrown.
Right.
The people that I work with either are like family, right, or people that I went to school with, like from my realtor to investors, whole nine. Like everybody is, close to home type of thing.
Absolutely. So I want everybody to hold those numbers right there. So we got $950,000, 27 years old. So we're going to hold on to that, and then we're going to go all the way back to the beginning, all right? Yeah. So your first real estate deal, or even just the mind state to go into real estate, where did it start?
Yeah, so, everybody talks about wanting to retire. Like, anybody you talk to, I'm going to retire by 35, I'm going to be my own boss, I'm going to retire by 40, whatever. Usually that's kind of like where the conversation stops. I don't feel like people after that give you like, all right, well, and this is how. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. So for me, it's like, realistically, how do you do that? So most people, to some type of way, however you get paid, usually it's with some type of consistency. Most people get paid, every 2 weeks bi-weekly, type of thing, right? So it's like, all right, I get a property, rent's due on the 1st, late by the 5th, okay? Another property, rent's due by the 15th, late by the 20th. Now I'm recreating that cycle of every 2 weeks I'm getting a check.
Right. So you saying, like, just for the people, because you talking to me and you know that I know what you mean, but to the people who have no clue what we saying. So you saying, like, you go buy an apartment building, right, and you rent it out to tenants.
Yeah, okay, yeah, because I guess that's the top of the house, right, where you say there's all types of different strategies for real estate. Right. You got to figure out, like, where you want to be. For me, where I want to be is the residual income. Right. So I'm making a profit every month. Because you think about like stocks and stuff like that, stocks are good and, to each his own, whatever your lane is. But for me, stocks, like, the way it works, you're not getting a monthly whatever. Like the stock grows and you sell those stocks and then you can make something back. I need something that's like every month consistency.
Okay, right. And when you say residual income, I know what you mean. I know some people listening right now like, Terry, nigga, we know what the fuck you're talking about. But there's some people who don't. There's some people who have no clue.
For sure.
So when you say residual income.
Yeah, so like, residual in the sense of like it's consistent, it's every month, and really like passive residual income. Real estate, the lane that I'm in for it is passive in meaning that I don't have to do so much for it to work. It's working,
You're not clocking in every day to get this money.
Absolutely not.
It's going to come regardless as long as people pay their bills.
Yep, absolutely. And you got to guard against all that. It's all strategy. I think with anything in life, it's all strategy, but you got to guard against that, making sure you're putting the right tenants in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Okay, so with that, so that was your plan to say, I want to retire. I'm going to go buy apartment buildings, set the rent due up to in a space where these people are paying me on the 1st, these people are paying me on the 15th. So either way it goes, I'm getting a bi-weekly check.
Yep.
Okay.
So then and this is the other thing too, strategy wise. I got a 9 to 5. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I got like a career outside of that is doing really well. Right. So it's like I go and get the first deal. That alone is not gonna make up what I'm making, bi-weekly at my 9 to 5. Right. But the concept is like, I'm not trying to retire now per se. I'm trying to retire, 35, 40.
Right.
So it's like, okay, if I just average one deal every 5 years and alternate those between, this property's paying me on the first, and I only do multi-units, right? No single family. So I'm banking on a
why?
Risk, right? If I got a single family home, I'm either getting 100% of the rent or 0% of the rent. Like, it's all on that person. Right. Where I've had situations with even like the first property I bought where like I had to evict somebody and they wasn't paying rent for like 10 months per se.
It took that long to evict?
Man, so that's another thing in itself. Chicago is brutal for
evictions.
For
they on the tenant side.
Yeah, definitely on the tenant side. And it was crazy too because the woman, when I went to do it, like her exact words to me was, it started in like October when I started getting, everything going. And her literal words to me was like, this the wrong time of the year to be doing this, right? Right. So she knew the game. She already knew like she had a window. So yeah, but even with that happening, right, through that time frame, I still made money. Right. You get what I'm saying? Because it's multiple units. So never in a situation, even if I didn't make money, that's fine. Right. But I'm not coming out of my pocket to pay the note and the expenses every month, right? That's pulled together between these multiple units where if you get a situation like that, where somebody's not paying or whatever, that's just a portion of what's going on. In that situation, the numbers were set up where I still was able to profit. I'm not profiting as much, but I still paid all my expenses, still made money off of that property month to month till she left.
How many units was that one?
4 units.
4 units. Yep. And that was your first deal?
First deal.
First deal out the gate, 4-unit building.
Yep.
Nice. So we talked about the mind state of what got you into real estate, and it was about early retirement. Setting yourself up for the future was the mind state behind it. Yeah. The first deal, how did it work? When I say that, I want specifics. Like, how did you go from you have no property, you need money, you need credit, you need a lender, you need a realtor. Yep. So these are the things when people think about, like, damn, I want to go into real estate, but it seems like so much. These are the things people are thinking about. I need a lawyer, realtor. Yep. God damn it, I gotta go to the bank. I gotta get my credit right. I gotta get some money. How does that work? Yeah, so I feel like it's a lot easier than you think. A lot of times people, that's just with anything, right? Like anything you talk to somebody, like everybody knows everything about everything. You know what I'm saying? Somebody will be telling you, like everybody around you, your family will be telling you, like, you telling you want to go to real estate. Oh man, so you know what I'm saying? And it's like they talking about something that they might not even be tied to. But at the top of the house, when you're trying to buy a property, like you start with a realtor, right? The realtor wants, they don't make money until you buy something. Right. So you talk to a realtor, they're gonna be excited to work with you. They're gonna see you. You talk to a realtor, and I can give you a few realtors that I would recommend that are like top notch people getting it done. But realtors across the board, you talk to them, you say, hey, this is what I'm looking for. A range of this price to this price, this area or this makeup, 4 units, 8 units, whatever you're looking for, right? They're gonna be like, it's gonna get to a point where you're gonna start getting annoyed. Right. The amount of things they're going to send you because they want to make that business. Right. So people think like, oh, you got to go. And I do my own research and I go out there. But at the same time, I'm getting daily feeds, like to the point where I might catch up 2 weeks later type of thing. So you start there. The other thing is get a good attorney. Right. And I can recommend you a few of those too. Right. Get you a good attorney because a lot of the lingo you might not be able to speak. Right. Mm-hmm. You want to make sure all your deals is good. Right. So you get if you get a realtor, like I say, they're gonna work for you. The attorney, you get somebody on retainer. If it's a one-time type of deal, you just say, hey, what you trying to do? And it's not so expensive. Right. It's just a more so, hey, you might spend $300, $500, something like that. Right. And then they're just gonna put it together for you. Absolutely. And that's the top of the house. That's the easiest thing. Obviously, you gotta have to some extent decent credit, save up. But there's so many programs and all those type of things where it's a lot easier than I think people think. Okay, so when you say find a realtor, find an attorney, where do you go to find these things other than like just being referred by somebody? Man, you can just go online. Everything is online. You can go to Google, but for me, I like to keep stuff homegrown. I feel like loyalty is everything and those type of things. So it's like before I go and give some Joe Schmo my business, I know people. If you taking care of business, I know people that's around me that's doing those things. I want to do business with those people. Absolutely, absolutely. So for anybody who does not have a realtor or attorney or know where to get one, or you just don't want to Google some random face and just go spend your money with them, I'm gonna get all the information from Nate. I'm gonna have it available in the comment section. That's cool. I can put
absolutely,
these
absolutely,
emails and
absolutely,
phone numbers.
Yeah.
Okay, so check the comment section. So after this interview, it should be no excuses to why you. I'm gonna try to get y'all all the gems and all the tools. Nate, I'm gonna ask Nate, and I'm gonna try to pull out every question anybody has ever asked me, or any conversation we've ever had.
Yeah.
All right, so those are the first steps. Find a realtor, find a lawyer.
Yeah.
Okay. And now when you go into the bank, what do your credit need to look like? What do your money, what do your pocket need to look like?
It really all depends, right? Like there's no set in stone. Like I say, where I told you, like my strategy is multi-units.
Right.
You figure out like what type of strategy, but you can buy a property, even if it's a single family home. You can buy a property for, a decent property without having to, because I'm not trying to put a whole bunch of work into something either. I'm not into the fix and flips because I don't live here, right? So I'm doing everything from a distance. Yeah, at least close to it. Like this building I just got, it's 2 vacant units right now, so I'll have to remodel those, and that's why I'm here this week, working through it and everything like that. But I don't want something I got to put all that into it. But you can get something decent, $100,000, $80,000, $60,000 maybe.
Right.
And when you talk to the realtor, they'll get you in contact with some bankers. And same way with the bankers. They're going to want to have your business. Right. So they're going to take your information. That's probably the most difficult process, only because there's maybe like 6 to 8 things you need.
Right.
All of them are online and with access, but it's like people don't like to put in so much work. That's the most time-consuming process, and it might be like 30 minutes. I need bank statements. I need your driver's license.
Yeah. So just from my experience, I'm glad you brought that up, because the first time they came to me with that, it sounded like so much. It sounds like a lot more than what it is, because when you go get the bank statements, they right there. You got Chase or something that's right there online. You just click on it, download it. The thing is, once you get all that stuff the first time, take screenshots, pictures of it, whatever, put that shit in a folder on your computer, so that if you got to go to another bank to get, you might go to multiple lenders just to see who's going to give you the best, the best benefits or grants or whatever. Just have that one folder there and just drop it to everybody. Like that was my strategy. But that does, when they tell you that the first time, it sounds like, what the? I need all this shit. Yeah. But it's not that bad, though.
It sounds intimidating, but it's not. Like I say, that's the most time-consuming part, and it's like 30 minutes.
Yeah, it is like 30 minutes. You're right. So,
and they'll tell you what you need. Right? They'll tell you, because you get a pre-approval. Right. They're going to give you like, hey, we would be able to fund you up to this amount comfortably. If you get a pre-approval, most likely it goes through. Right. I don't know anybody who's gotten a pre-approval who hasn't gotten approved.
Right.
But you just got to take that 30 minutes. Just put that 30 minutes in and submit them docs.
Right. Absolutely. And for anybody out there who's looking at it like, they don't have the credit score, that's definitely something that everybody should be working on. But it's a bunch of companies out there that's that can fix your credit and file disputes for you. And
can we pause right there though?
Go ahead.
People will be like, most people will not. They'll stop right here and be like, well, you know what? My credit score ain't where it's at.
Right.
And won't even get the process going. Right. The way I move just in life for opportunity and business and things like that, you got to tell me no.
Right.
And at this point in my life, you probably got to tell me, we're talking business, right? You probably got to tell me no multiple times.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's just like how strong I'm coming for it. Most people will be like, man, my credit score, people might not even know like what a good credit score or a decent credit score is. They just feel like they might not have a good one. So they not even going to call. No, you got to let the bank tell you, hey, we won't approve you. We wouldn't approve you for anything. And that's fine.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But chances are they going to approve you. It might not necessarily be, if you got decent credit, you might not be able to go and get $1 million deal. Just realistic,
it's
right?
not gonna happen, right?
But that's fine, right? My first deal was $150K. Right? So we talking like 10% of what we just
And then and for something like that, so just with me being in the beginning stages, getting my credit together, saving my bread up, going to the bank, going to multiple banks and getting pre-approved by a bunch of different banks. It's not really that hard. You know what I'm saying? If you save up about $3,000, just to give people numbers out there, because I don't want people to still be like, okay, what are the numbers?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So if you save up about $3,000 and your credit score is above a 620, you're going to get approved by most banks for a FHA loan with a grant for $7,000. that $7,000 goes on top of your mortgage as your down payment. So as soon as if the crib is 150 and you know what I'm saying, you come with the 620 credit score, about $3,000 in the bank, you'll get approved for a loan. I can't guarantee that because I'm not the bank. But as far as what they're telling me, all you need is a 620 credit score, about $3,000, and they're going to approve you for the loan and also give you a grant for $7,000. So if the property's 150, you'll be paying 143. You know what I'm saying? If you get a property for 150, that'll be your mortgage and your monthly. That'll be your overall mortgage. Your monthly mortgage would be maybe like of 150, 143, maybe like $900 or something like that.
Maybe like mortgage only, right? Usually when you do it though, they factor in like your taxes, your insurance, and so it'll be like a group wave. But even still, that's why I would go and get a multi-unit. Right, exactly, you can go and get a $150,000 house and rent that house for, let's just say, $1,500.
Right.
You can go and get a 4-unit apartment building for $150,000 and say each one of them apartments is $1,000.
Right.
And you're gonna get $4,000.
Right.
Right. It's the same exact loan. The same amount is due on the first of the month. I'm not, I'm just covering my expenses.
Right.
Off the single family, $1,500.
Yeah. Exactly, and also the thing about it is when you think about people who are in a situation where they're renting right now, right? Your mortgage might be less than what you're paying to live right now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So it's definitely a situation that you'll want to get into. I just looking at real estate and how it works. I think it's for everybody because a lot of people say it's not for me. I think it's for everybody.
So I told you, for me, the strategy, you get the monthly residual, right?
Yeah.
The other thing you got to factor in is this. You get a mortgage, if it's residential, 30-year mortgage, right?
Yeah.
So every month for 30 years, I'm making X amount of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Over the course of this 30 years, my mortgage is being paid off, not by me.
Right.
Right? So it's an investment tool in the standpoint of, you just said you come to the bank with $3,000, they're going to give you $7,000 for a $150,000 loan. And this is just the example that we're using.
Right.
Over the course of those 30 years, other people are paying that monthly note on that $143,000 that's still owed.
Yeah.
Right? So at the end of this 30 years, it's just so much because we haven't even started talking about appreciation yet.
Right.
At the end of the 30 years, it's still $150,000.
Right.
Even though that's not the case.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
You just put $3,000 down. And now you got $150,000, and maybe you got a kid at this point that's going to go to college.
Right.
You just got, you know what I'm saying? But you still got the building. So now, and on top of that, now you don't have a note.
Exactly.
So now that X percent that we was talking about monthly is now just maybe like tripled or quadrupled because you no longer have a note to pay. Like there's so many benefits. I made money from it every single month.
Right.
Other people paid it off over the course of this time period.
Okay.
And then now let's talk appreciation. Now it's 30 years later. You show me anything in the city of Chicago that was $150,000 30 years ago.
Right.
And how much it is today.
Exactly. And then a lot of these neighborhoods, especially in the hood, are changing, being gentrified, things like they talk about Inglewood. As soon as that Starbucks go up, it's
a wrap.
As soon as that Whole Foods go up, this neighborhood
wrap.
is about to look different in the next 10 years, right?
It's a wrap. And you want to be in those areas, close to transportation, close to whatever lines, whatever bus stops. That's like the first thing I do when I go see a property. I come outside and look, like, where's the closest bus stops? Any property that I have is less than a minute walk from a bus stop, guaranteed. Okay.
Great strategy. So let's think about, we talked about step number 1 is the mind state.
Yep.
Why was basically like, why are you doing this? For you, it was early retirement. Step 2 is going to the bank, getting your team together. Is your lawyer, your realtor, and then we just talked about going to the bank and your credit score, the loan, everything else. Let's talk about when you start bidding, right?
Okay,
so that's where I'm at right now. I'm putting bids in on stuff, and sometimes I might get outbidded, whatever the case may be. Sometimes somebody might be like, oh, well, I'm going to take this offer. I'm going to use you as a backup offer. If it come through, I'll hit your line.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that.
Yep. So I will say the realtor will help you with strategy for those type of things. They understand how the market is. Certain things, say it's all strategy. Certain things come down to just like the nuances of when I see a property. And what I'll do too, like I say, I do my own research, even, if you don't want to just depend on a realtor. So, a few times a week, I'm sending my realtor like 5-6 addresses in Chicago. Right. He's going to tell me every time I go through them, he'll send me a text back and tell me why that deal is the way it is. He'll be like, yeah, the inside is like completely gutted.
Right.
You know, it's a nice structure, but it's nothing on the inside. That's why it's that cheap. Or the crime rate in that area is crazy. That's why it's that cheap. Or the back taxes on that building is, you know what I'm saying? Exactly. So they got access to a lot more than we would.
Right.
Where all you got to do, like I say, the realtor's free. You don't pay no money up front.
Right.
A lot of stuff in life, like you got to pay the money up front. You got to, the realtor at the top of the house at the very beginning, you don't pay them anything until the deal closes.
Yeah. Is the attorney the same way?
It depends, man.
Yeah.
It depends. My attorney's on retainer, so it's like he's getting money from me quarterly anyway. Right. You know what I mean? But I'm going to go out on the limb and say, like there's got to be attorneys out there that's like,
The one I'm dealing with right now is, and most of them that I've met is like, just pay me when the deal is done.
Yeah. Go ahead.
But that might have something to do with the quality of the attorney too. I don't know.
Yeah, I think everything is network. Everything is relationship build, right? Like if I got an attorney, right now, Tiffany that we went to school with, even though she's not like in the real estate type of thing, but she's like, criminal attorney or something like that. If I got somebody that, end up in some type of, I'm calling Tiffany off the rip, and hopefully I can get that off the strength, and maybe not. You know what I'm saying? You gonna pay regardless.
Right. Yeah.
But it's plenty of people that'll let you pay on the back end, man.
Okay. Absolutely. So, putting in bids. So, what's your strategy for bidding? Are you giving them what they ask for? Are you going cheaper depending on, you know what I'm saying, how you feel about the property? If it's something that you're 100% sure you want, are you going exactly in at that number or above that number? Yep. How are you determining that? So, and I probably get this from my dad. My dad is the type of guy where it doesn't matter what the price is. Yeah. He wants, like, somebody could be like, hey, man, we going to give you this building for free. And my dad is the type of guy like, nah, you gonna have to pay me $50 to take the building. Right, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a free building, right? Right. So with that, like, I don't care what the price is. I'm coming in low. And like I say, we talked about this a little bit earlier. You got to let people tell you no. So the cool thing, like I say, the realtor is so knowledgeable in the game where he's going to tell you the temperature of that setting to be able to say, hey, you know what? This is about to go quick. You might want to go X, Y, and Z. Or I come to the realtor and say, hey, like, the $1 million deal, I was like, hey, I want to put in an offer for $800,000. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And most of the deals that I find, I'm comfortable with paying what that asking price is. Right. Right? I hope nobody I end up buying something for. Be like, all right. Right. The numbers, that's another thing. The realtor is so important and he's free. He will send you spreadsheets of the numbers because that's the thing. That's where you got to start at. And that's what I do. I'll send him some numbers and you make some average assumptions and then you'll know what type of returns per se you'll get. So I go after stuff that work with the as-is numbers. Right. Because anything I get less than that now, that's just cushion. Right? So with the bidding process, that realtor is going to tell you what the climate is. Like, hey, you know what? The realtor might say, this has been on the market for a year. If it's been on the market for a year, chances are it's probably not going nowhere in the next week or two. So you probably got longer time to negotiate, and they're probably a little more, ready to just get it done where you got some more negotiating room. Right. If it's something that just came on this week, the realtor might be like, yo, you might want to put in a strong offer. And they're going to talk to that person's selling agent, and that person's going to be, hopefully transparent to be like, sometimes they try to gas you to be like, oh, it's multiple people. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody wants this. Yeah, and you just gotta feel through it. Like I say, the only thing that really matters, and I'll talk to my dad about this. Sometimes we don't get things for the price that we want them at. But I told you from jump, like everything that I've gone into, I was good with the asking price. Right. That don't mean I want to pay it though. Right. You know if I get it for cheap, I'm gonna get it. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. So, even if I don't get to where I want to be at, it's like, okay, I got enough. The realtor's gonna send you those numbers. Right. Those asking is no matter what you pay for something, as long as you're going in within reason. Right. I go everything with a risk-based approach. So the numbers got to work like bare minimum. Right. I'm not coming into, if the average rate in that area, let's say is $1,000 for a one bedroom, I'm assuming that every one of my one bedrooms is going to be $800. Right. If the numbers work at that $800, I'm good. Right. You don't want to go into a deal where you make profit only if everything goes well. Exactly. Right? Exactly. Because that's just how life works. And I feel like people go in with that approach, and those are the people you hear about when somebody be telling you, yeah, real estate ain't the way to go, boom, boom. They came in like, yeah, no, this looks good, like real bright eye, and not factoring in
people do hit hardships.
Right.
People do not pay their rent. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? People
right.
do have stuff come up. Like, I'm taking all that in consideration. If you're doing real estate, like, you got to factor in, most people will tell you, and I already know, you got to factor in a vacancy rate. Right? Saying that a percentage of the year, I'm not going to have 100% vacancy. And so you factor that out month over month. The numbers have to work with that vacancy rate.
Right.
You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So with the bidding thing, the realtor will help guide you. And I would say always go in less than what they're asking for, but within reason. $1 million property,
Right.
you can get a couple $100,000 off.
Yeah.
A $300,000 property, you can't get a couple $100,000 off. It's too much of the cut.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. So it got to be reasonable. I hear that. And I think sometimes with me, well, and recently I had a problem with, like, and people told me earlier, like, fall in love with the deal, don't fall in love with the product, with the building. It was a building that I fell in love with. It was like the perfect, like, it had more than what I wanted, and the price was way less than what I was approved for.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It was like $100,000 less than what I was approved for.
Okay.
And I went in low. You know what I'm saying? I went in low. Shout out to my big cousin who owned this shop and everything like that. He's big in real estate.
Okay.
Right? And he was like, man, go in low. And it was dope because the property was like right across the street from his crib, which I know the neighborhood and everything like that. Everything was great. He's like, go in low. Somebody else ended up getting it. You know what I'm saying? Somebody else went in over. They ended up getting it. I was sick. You know what I'm saying? I was sick. And I was talking to somebody else, and they was like, I was actually talking to D. Henny. He big in real estate.
Yeah, he is. Yep.
He big in real estate. So he was like, man.
Shout out to D. Henny, man.
Yeah. He was like, man, if you would have went in above what they asked for, it would have probably been a $10,000 difference. You're probably talking about $25 difference on your monthly mortgage. He was like, there's no reason you should have not got that bill. And it made me look at it completely different. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, man. But people, people say that there's people say like there's two types of investments, right? The ones that you wish you made more of, and the ones you wish you never made.
Exactly.
Right. So it's like in those situations, you never know. You can always play the what if games.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But that is true. Where like the difference sometimes of what you're negotiating for is like pennies over a couple months.
Yeah. So kind of going into like let's so we got the numbers still in mind from the beginning. 950,000, 27 years old. We went from your first unit being 150,000, 4 units. How old were you at that point?
23.
23. So this is in 4 years.
Yep.
Right. So over the course of these 4 years, you've got how many properties do you have?
Yeah. So 6 at this point.
You got 6 properties in 4 years.
Yep.
Crazy. So what's the journey from the first joint, 4 units, 150,000 to 5 buildings?
Yeah.
At 950,000.
Yeah. So with anything in life, like maybe this is not real estate's not your thing.
Right.
Whatever it is, consistency in anything
right.
helps, right? If I can get my first building based off whatever income I got coming in before this income, the next one should be easier.
Yeah.
Right? Because now I got more income
than I had before.
You know what I'm saying? So you got to be making sure that you managing that extra income right. Most people get raises and don't save more. They end up spending more, right?
Yeah.
So in those situations, like the money I get in, like I don't even mix business and pleasure. Every single one of those has a business account, right? That money don't even touch my personal account. I don't even carry those cards with me type of thing. Like that's strictly business.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I treat it as such. And so that discipline just allows it to add up. Right, over time, and that's really what it is. Just sticking to it, knowing that I gotta go for the next piece. Right.
So it's just basically money management, and you're living off of the 9-to-5 situation. Yeah. Everything else is like buying assets, using the residual off the assets, and putting it back into more assets.
Yeah.
Basically, rich dad, poor dad. Like that's
pretty
much the same thinking.
Yeah.
I had Jeff Badu. You know Jeff Badu?
I don't. Maybe probably by face.
All right, so I had him on the show months and months ago, and he was like, the first thing everybody needs to do when it comes to investing. We weren't talking about real estate necessarily. We was talking about investing. Like the first thing everybody needs to do is download Audible, the audiobook app.
Okay.
And they give you one free book, and he was like, listen to Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That was his advice. So I'm putting that back out there in the world. Okay. Because that was a few months ago on the show. So if all the new listeners, that guy is really good in real estate as well as just investing in general.
Yeah.
And that was his advice. And what you just said kind of is like the same mind frame that book gives you.
Yeah. You know what? And I've heard a lot. I haven't personally done Rich Dad Poor Dad. I've done like maybe a few little like excerpt. Somebody gave me like a CD one time, and I listened to maybe like a couple like chapters or maybe like 20, 30 minutes. Before I had the money to, because people also too, right? They'll be like, I got to get the money and then I'm going to start doing the research. I was doing the research before I had the money because I knew this is what I wanted to do. Right. What I would recommend, right, to Rich Dad Poor Dad is a website called investformore.com. It's for, though, like FOUR, investformore.com. And it's this dude who basically, he was like, long story short, he was like, I want 4 properties. If I can get 4 rental properties, I'll be able to live comfortably the rest of my life. Right. Right. Then, like, maybe a short time after that, he was like, nah, what I actually want to do is I want to get 100 properties in 10 years. And so he does, I guess you would call it blog maybe or whatever, but he does these little easy reads. They're like 5 minutes, and he posts consistently. He posts every single deal that he does. Right. And he talks through in, like, the simplest of terms where you're talking about, like, hey, you know, the simplest of terms, right, of how everything works. And he shows you, he's so transparent. He shows you coming in, he's like, hey, this is the property. This is what I think about the property. This is what I want it for. Then when he gets the property, or if he doesn't, he'll tell you, like, I got outbid by this, or this was my strategy and it worked or it didn't. At the very beginning when he says I want 100 properties in 10 years, he says, I know that I'm not going to get it. Right. I know that I'm not going to get it, but I also know that I'm going to be a lot further off by going for an aggressive goal than just going by something I knew I could do. Exactly. So he might be like, last time I was on the site, he might be like 5 years in or so. And I think he's at like 30 properties. Right. So he's not even on pace to get the 100, but he's at 30 something. And he started out just wanting 4. Yeah. But he shows you the numbers, how much he's paying, how much his notes are, how much he's getting in rent. His strategy is single family. I still took that same website and the approach is all the same. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do that, but I'm going to do it for multi-unit, you know? So I would recommend that one. Easy because they're in 5-minute chunks. Right. And you can see the different deals. You can follow it. I went all the way back to this first ones when I first found the site. So, yeah.
It's crazy because I think it seems like it all just comes back to mind state. Like the mind state that you approach things with in life, not just in real estate, but anything. When you say he set this crazy goal that he knew he wasn't going to reach, but he just shot for it and he ended up better off. It kind of reminds me of like when I tell my son I have him do push-ups, right? He's only 4. Yeah. I have him do these push-ups, and it's not really about it's not really about him being strong or anything like that. It's just giving him something tedious to do and work on and seeing how many you can do to progress. So it's like if I say do 10 push-ups, around 7 he gets tired. But if I say do push-ups till I tell you to stop, he can do like 15, you know what I'm saying, almost 20 push-ups. Like he's not getting tired until like the last 2. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like the mind state of it is just like having that goal of something. And he used to do 10 every night, but he would still always get tired at 7. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But then when I say like just do as many as you can, he could do way more than 10. Yeah. So it's just like having that mind state is big. Absolutely. When you say that from and shout out to your son, man, because I'll be seeing y'all. When you say that and you take the standpoint of like, you know, mentally he's younger. Right. Or less mature. Right. We're not even gonna do the age thing right now because I'm trying to maturely he's younger. Right. Mentally. So you see that being more mature mentally, you see that from something as simple as push-ups. Right. And you seeing and you challenging him to do more and he's not necessarily grasping that. Right. As us at the maturity that we are, it's people that's further along in the maturity that see like what we doing in life, like the life push-ups. Seeing us aim for 10 and getting tired at 7 versus like the dude invest for more, like just doing push-ups till he can't. 100 properties in 10 years, I'm going to just do, you know, property push-ups till I can't, and I'm getting further off, right? Yeah. We got to like mentally at this point think beyond that to be able to do whatever it is. Because like maybe real estate's not the thing. Like everything's not for everybody. You might be better in something else. Yeah. My thing is this. So, with the real estate thing, with the guy Invest for More, he does single family. Yep. I always heard not to go single family. What's his strategy with that?
Man, it's all too market. Like he's somewhere, man. I feel like he's in like Oregon or Washington.
I knew you was gonna say the West Coast.
Yeah, he's somewhere West Coast, Chicago, and I know you got followers everywhere. I know you got followers worldwide.
Nah,
right? Nah, I'm telling you. Yeah, listen. But primarily most of the followers Chicago. Chicago is I've lived in New York. I live in Charlotte now. Right. Chicago is where all my properties are. It's the best place out of those areas to do real estate from a multi-unit perspective. Charlotte has either single-family homes or like 500-door complexes. There's no in between. You can drive anywhere in Chicago, and from the outside, you might not even know if this is a 4-unit, 3-unit, or a single-family. Like that's just how Chicago is, and they come a dime a dozen. It's so much easier to negotiate, all those type of things. So his strategy, I think, out there works. I'm assuming there's probably not much multi-unit, or that might just not be his thing. Yeah. I'm a risk for my 9 to 5. I do risk, so I'm always in my real life outside of work, figuring out taking that risk-based approach. So I'm just like multi-units. The whole concept is simple as what is it? Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing about the single versus multi-unit thing, is it wouldn't apply to his strategy because he's doing income, he's doing rental properties, and the Invest for More guy, he's doing rental properties. But a realtor or an investor was telling me that if you do a single family for your first, especially if you want FHA, if you get your first property on single family, it kind of puts you at a disadvantage. And she kind of dropped the gem on me. She was like, when you do your debt to income ratio and you do a single family, going through FHA, you have to live there for 5 years. You're supposed to live there for 5 years.
It's just a year.
Or a year.
It's just a year, yeah.
All right, so but when you go for your next deal, it's gonna count against your debt to income ratio if you live there versus if you do multi-unit and you go for your next deal, it lowers your debt to income ratio because it's all looked at as profit.
Yeah, and people say that too. Like a lot of people will be like, I'm gonna do a duplex. Like, when you hear people talk about real estate, most people be like, I'm gonna do a duplex. I want to get somewhere I'm gonna live in one, rent out the other.
Right.
You hear that all the time.
Yeah, house hacking.
Right.
Right.
So, and that's cool. My thing is like this: when you get into real estate and you own, you realize like people be needy. I don't want
to live with your tenants.
Yeah. You can't just come knock on my door anytime, right? But what's the difference if I got a duplex, each one of them cost $1,000? Right. What's the difference of me staying in one, getting $1,000, staying in and getting $1,000 from the other, as opposed to if I just live someplace else that costs $1,000 and get both of the duplex, right? It's the same thing as like if you lived in the one, but now like I'm not in just knocking on my door access. You're gonna have to call, send an email.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
I wanted to get into that. I'm glad you said that because Grant Cardone is somebody who always talks about like you rent where you live, and then he was like what did he basically he doesn't want to own where he lives at.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So and he wants to own what he rents out.
Yeah.
So what is a lot of people look at that and like, why would I, if I own all this property, why wouldn't I live somewhere where I own it versus paying rent for somewhere else with somebody? I'm paying off somebody else's mortgage, especially when I own a bunch of stuff. What's the mind state behind that?
It's the same thing. So the example of a duplex. Let's say each one of those duplexes you can get $1,000 from.
Exactly.
If two people live in each one, right? If you got somebody in each one, you're gonna make $2,000. Right. People say, okay, I'm gonna live in one, so you're not making $1,000 there, but you're saving $1,000 in rent. Right. I'm gonna live in one and make the $1,000 from the other one. Well, that's the same exact thing as renting both of them out for the $2,000 and taking the $1,000 from the one that you would have lived in and live somewhere else for $1,000. It's the same thing. So because I have real estate, I could come and live in any one of these properties, or I can say that property would cost me $1,000 that I wouldn't be paying. Now I can go and live anywhere I want in the world and pay $1,000. It's the same exact thing.
Right. And the big difference is your tenants aren't there to bug you.
Yeah. I mean, that's huge because, and that's the thing about just being realistic. It's not like the easiest thing in the book, but for me, I don't think it's bad. If you make the right decisions, right? The team that I have is excellent. Everybody knows and plays their part tremendously in it. It's a well-oiled machine, so it works. Like I say, I don't live here. Right. I don't live here. Like, that's huge. Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because it's a hands-on type of thing. So it's like, man, what kind of team does that have to be? What type of trust does that have to be? Like, I'm telling you, everybody plays their part to the team, and it makes it work. So
Absolutely.
you can't take the shortcuts on that wave, or it's not gonna work.
Absolutely. How does like with the you got the 9 to 5?
Yeah,
You're doing real estate. That sounds like a super busy life.
man, and you know all the other
Right.
stuff that be working, man.
Right.
The charity wave, the travel wave, like
Right, that's a whole nother right.
Yeah,
so how
man.
are you able to balance out all these things and do so much effectively? Because the charity is going crazy.
Yeah.
So that's 3 things that's
Yeah.
going crazy. And then you travel like a
Yeah.
lot. So how are you able to balance all of that?
I feel like you can do anything you want to do within reason,
Right.
right? All within time. So going back to the push up thing,
Right.
when your son get older, he gonna get to a point where he like, in the gym lifting weights,
Right.
right? And I know you be in the gym. I seen the Planet Fitness on the
Right.
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 So whatever you go to the bench press, whatever your max is your max,
Right.
right? Whatever that is. Let's say in high school it's like if you could max a plate. If you was hitting the plate, it was good. Okay, so if you max at a plate, at some point in time, and you hitting it, you're like, man, like this is the most I've ever done. At
Right.
some point in time, that becomes normal, and now your max is a new max.
Right.
All of those things didn't just happen at the same time where, boom, I just dropped and I was right here. They
Right.
all grew in their own rights. So it's like, because right now, I feel like I'm the most stretched I've ever been.
Right.
I feel like I'm the most stressed I've ever been. Like, and I need to be treating my body, better. But at some point in time soon, because I'm getting my MBA too.
Wow.
Right?
So you're in school right now.
I'll get my MBA too. So it's
Wow.
like with all and people don't even know that, right? Like
Right.
most people do not know.
Right.
I mean, it's because like how, you know what I mean?
Right.
I'm like in school. I'm not doing online, which is nothing wrong. I'm not, I'm at
You in
school.
class.
Yeah, right. Shout out to UNC. And so I'm the most stressed. At some point in time, this is gonna be the new norm, and then like something else is gonna be.
Right.
Right, I just told you I'm looking at another property. I'm trying to close on another property in like a month.
Right. And then you can't add hours to your day. It's
know what I'm
always
saying?
24 hours a day,
Yeah,
regardless
yeah.
of what you put on your plate.
Yeah, but I mean, look at people, because people be like, I'll get a certain amount of money and then I'm good. I'm gonna chill out. I do feel like I'm that type of person. I don't want to just slave my life away type of thing. I want to
Right.
be able to enjoy life, and I feel like I enjoy it now. But in my mind, I think about like, yo, Jay-Z get up every morning
Right.
early.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Diddy up every
Yeah.
morning early.
Yeah.
And they got way more money than they can spend in a lifetime.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So they making it happen. Like, who am I to be like, man, it'd be crazy too. Because even like, and this is just a little sidebar, right? When you be dating and stuff like that, and I know you run these type of ways, like you talking to somebody and they trying to tell you like how busy they are.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Bullshit. That's
They
bullshit.
trying to tell you, and it's like, I'm not even, I'm
Right.
not finna like knowledge share and be like, oh, really? When was like, you can't tell me that.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? You
Exactly.
can't tell me that.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's all so.
Yeah,
man.
That come from people you work with too. You talking about having a team, and it's just like you have different people, and you relying on people to do different things, and they're
Yeah.
like, oh, well, I had this going on. Like, I ain't trying to hit shit. Like, I ain't trying to hit shit. So I know you the same way as far as
Man.
holding your team accountable.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So when you talk about the team, though, we talked about the lawyer, the realtor. What other pieces are around you?
Yeah, man. So I got a property management team. Everything I do,
That's
I
big.
want to do in house. So I got Infinite Hands charity, right, and then I got Infinite Properties, and so they manage collectively the properties. I got investors that'll put money down and looking to make return on investment, those type of things. So it's like, to be honest, if you want to get in real estate in any type of wave, we can have conversation and try to see like if we can work together, those type of things. Somebody will be like, you know what? I see how you doing it. And that's the thing too. Like I remember when I first was trying to get people to pull in for, trying to do deals and whatever, like, oh, loan me this and whatever. And when nobody trying to mess with it, now everybody's like, yo, how can I get in? What's nothing wrong with that? You know what I'm saying?
Right,
But it's those
right.
things like shout out to the people that was there on the front end.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But you get those, and then what else? The property manager has got really good rapport with like electricians, plumbing, handyman.
Right.
Cause that helps too, to have consistent people for like good,
Prices.
dependable work and dependable prices. It helps your bottom line,
Absolutely.
So yeah, so that's pretty much the team overall. People that work my accountant, you know what I'm saying? But that's just like from making sure I ain't on the ROS no bread. I ain't trying to, cause that's when you start moving so fast, you got to make sure there's so many benefits and stuff out there too.
Yeah.
You gotta, and I don't know all of those things, so I just spend that a little amount of money. It'll pay off to have the people who are experts in these arenas to put you in the right places. I've learned so much. Right. And that's the thing too, where like I'm here this week, I'm near when I got the people there for the roof or for whatever, because I want to be hands-on. I want to know those things. That's the experience build too. You know? So
like you just cross your T's and dot your I's.
Yeah.
Who's an investor, whether it be in real estate or other facets of investment, that's like someone you look up to or you acknowledge as like that, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you saying like people that I work with. You saying
but just
like
anybody, any investor that you look at, like, man, like this guy's a really smart guy. This is somebody who I listen to. I watch his moves. Like whether it be anybody from Warren Buffett, Grant Cardone, Nipsey Hussle, like anybody. You know what I mean? Even on the charity side.
Yeah, on the charity side, man. Shout out to Justin Johnson, Kicks for the City. That whole movement is crazy.
It's dope. Sneaker ball was crazy inside the museum of science industry. Like, how did you just pull this shit off? How did you pull this off?
Man. So definitely, like the people I pull from, man. Like I'm telling you, like they the people that's around. You know, like we had these conversations, and it's like it'll never be. People it just be what it be. Like you got to look up to somebody that's like somebody that you can't even touch.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Somebody that you can't even pick up the phone and call type of thing. Like the people that I pull from are people that I can pick up the phone and call. You know what I'm saying? My older sister is like a beast in her own lane. Right. My pops, you know what I'm saying? So not anybody from an investor standpoint, just knowing that what I want to do and then like I say, finding those people that's around me that's in those, we gonna grow together. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Brittany Grayhouse. Yeah. Every day I wake up, I pray, I eat, and then I'm like, yo, what would Brittany do today? You know what I'm saying? Straight up. Like, what would Brittany Grayhouse do today? Right. And that's the thing, too. Like, if you got people around you, Mike Henderson, you know what I'm saying? You got people around you that's in their own, like, we all do different things. Right. But we're all, I feel like, at the top of our game in those different things. When that's the team, the whole thing about, if you hang around people that's in these waves, it rub off on you. Like, we're all making each other better.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? We had the conversation before we got started. Like, this is the dopest podcast that I know. You know what I'm saying?
That,
I'm not watching Breakfast Club no more.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not watching Breakfast Club no more. I'm right here.
Absolutely. I appreciate that. I definitely appreciate that.
Straight up.
That's dope as fuck. What I wanted to ask you before, what are you going back to school for?
I'm getting my marketing MBA.
Okay.
From University of North Carolina.
Okay, and what way would you be using that? Is that something that you tying into real estate, or is this a different facet of? Is that the 9 to 5 or?
Yeah. So my job's paying for it.
Nice.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm trying to take advantage of everything that's out there. I travel a lot all the time. I did not want to go back to grad school. Right. And this is like considered like your peak, your prime, whatever. It was like, man, I do not want to just commit that
type of time,
man. But the thing is, like, okay, they paying for it,
right?
No, you say, what do I want to use it for? Sometimes I feel like I don't even know,
right?
You know what I'm saying? All I know is like it's a advanced degree, and I paid $0 for it. So it's like, why wouldn't you
take advantage of every opportunity?
It's not gonna hurt me. And so obviously being in business, I'm in financial services. It's gonna help tremendously to the career. And the other thing too is I live in North Carolina.
Right.
I only know a couple people in North Carolina. Right. I tell people all the time, I lived here, it'll be very hard to go to grad school because you got people hitting you. Let's go get drinks. Let's go out. No one's hitting my phone in North Carolina. So it's easy to, while I'm here, let me just tuck it away, tunnel vision, get it out the way, man. I finish in May, so it's like, back to it.
That might be something that helps a lot for that discipline that we talked about. Because like I said, I got a lot of friends who they want to get into real estate and they want, everybody got big dreams, but it takes a certain level of discipline. We might have to sacrifice today, like want to get those drinks or those shoes or whatever it might be to, advance your future. So do you feel like being in North Carolina helps that as well?
Yeah, I feel like a few things, right? I used to live in New York. New York is crazy expensive. And so taking it back to square one, I graduated college. I didn't have a charity. Right. I didn't have any real estate. I wasn't traveling, right? So I'm like at square one, and that's 2014. We 5 years later. All those things came within, certain periods of life, and it's just continual growth. And they came one after another, and that's just kind of how it worked. When I moved from New York to North Carolina, I moved there for a role, right? So I had gotten a promotion. I was assistant vice president. I took a nice increase in pay.
Right.
And then moved to North Carolina for the role.
Right.
So North Carolina is way less expensive than New York.
Right.
So I'm like, I got both ends of the spectrum moving.
Right.
Most people in those situations spend more.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man, this is it was crazy. I bought my property right before I had moved, the first one, right before I moved to North Carolina.
Yeah.
So I was saving away living in New York.
Right.
Paying that type of, expenses, making less money and putting it together. I was like, man, I moved to
I'm going crazy now.
Oh, I was like this.
I'm
like, yo, this is the window right here.
Right.
This is the window right here. And it's like, it don't happen overnight.
Right.
I bought the first property. I had $0.
Right.
Not for real, but like I had $0.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, all right, this is square one. I got to start again. It's like, all right, boom.
Right.
Next one on the way. Like, you got to be ready for it. You hate to find something that you want and you ain't got the ducks in a row.
Absolutely. So, man, that's pretty much it, man. I definitely appreciate, you know what I'm saying, you coming through.
Yeah.
A lot of knowledge.
I
Gave us a
appreciate
lot of knowledge, a lot of
Yeah.
gems on real estate. Is there anything else any other message you want to push out there, whether it be about the charity, real estate, things people should know, something I missed on?
Yeah, no. I appreciate the opportunity. Shout out to you. Shout out to the podcast, the team. I know you got a team. And I know you know the importance of everybody playing their role. So just, we talking about me and those type of things. Like, let me come on here one of these days and talk to you about about the stuff you got going on. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I ain't even really got nothing except the stuff you got. You in the community, you working with the kids, you know what I'm saying? You a for real neighborhood hero. This is the type of stuff, right? Like, we gotta look at the Nipsey Hustles. Yo, I'm looking at you. You know what I'm saying? You messing with the kids, like no cameras, no games. Like, you could be doing anything you want, and you are. But you still doing those things. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
I definitely appreciate that.
Straight up.
I definitely appreciate that. And when it comes to that, it's something that for me, I just look at like giving back a different way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And what I mean when I say that is I look at it like this, like time is greater than money when it comes to stuff like that. So what would impact a kid life more? Like if Warren Buffett came and was like, you know what, I'm gonna give $1 million to CPS. Mm-hmm. CPS is going to take that money and distribute it however the hell they want to, which is already kind of unfair how they distribute. So I can't shit on my employees too much. But you know what I'm saying? It's kind of unfair how it gets distributed. We all know that. It's plain to see. But at the same time, some kids might get we got to get some new computers on the south side of the school that needed it. Stuff like that. It might open up, maybe a STEM program gets opened up. And it might be a great opportunity for, a handful of kids at that school might take advantage of it, but it's not affecting the mind state. And that's what everything is about, mind state. So you could put $1 million opportunity in front of a kid. They're not going to see it if they don't have a mind state. They're not going to recognize that. Yeah. You put a laboratory in a STEM program in a school with a kid who just don't care about science. To him, that's not an opportunity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if Warren Buffett, instead of doing that, said, you know what, I'm going to go on a tour of Chicago high schools and talk to 100 seniors in each school and just sit down one-on-one 15 minutes. I might sit down one-on-one with for 15 minutes with a kid and just ask them what they want to do in life and give them 3 tips to be successful. Yeah. That's going to be way more impactful. Those 15 minutes are going to be way more impactful than $1 million to CPS. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. You asked me, you was like, yo, like who you look up to, boom, 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 whatever, right? And I'm like, I ain't got too many people like far-fetched that I can't touch type of things. It's those type of experiences where no matter how many kids you work with, like there's going to be a decent amount of people who are better off in whatever they do. It's not even about like where the interaction was. Like these people might not box or they might not do sports or whatever, but it's like the fundamentals that you've given them are like going hard or being committed to something or whatever, right? Where they're going to have pivotal decisions at some point in time in their life to make, and they're going to make the right decision because of the experience that they had with you. Right, it's gonna be a
pray so.
I know so. Right, you think about for you, whoever those people were, where you didn't in certain situations, because we don't always make every one of the right decisions, but you look back on some situations like, man, I'm glad I boom, 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 and some of that is some of the things that were just instilled in you by whoever those influential people were. You are that person. The thing is, it's so many people that you're gonna impact. If it was just one, bro.
Yeah.
all of it's worth it.
Yeah, and when I started teaching, when I even decided to go into teaching, I looked at it like that.
Yeah.
I talked to my 8th grade teacher, and she kind of put that in my mind. She put the negative side of it in my mind. Not on purpose, but not even the negative, just the real side of it. She was like, it's going to hurt after a while.
Yeah.
When you have a kid that you saw grow up from pre-K to 8th, and then they graduate, they go out in the world, and you hear Chicago gun violence, this happened to this kid.
Yeah.
Or it was just last week at my school, a teacher came in and was like, a kid that I taught in 5th grade, they just found like half of her body somewhere. And it's just like, that hurts. You know what I mean? Because you looking at this person, I don't know what they're doing in their life right now or what's affecting them, but you remember them as this little, kid that you was guiding and stuff. And she put that in my mind. And from that point on, I was just like, man, if I could just have one, you know what I'm saying? Like, if it was just one. And it's dope, man, because spending the time every day with kids, it feels like I have more than one kid. I feel like I got a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I play that role. Like I'm helping kids put their teeth out. I'm teaching kids how to tie their shoes. This is the stuff outside of the classroom.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Teaching kids.
The stuff they going to remember, yo.
Yeah, how to build relationships. Like you go into high school, you want to play football, I'm going to take you up to your school and introduce you to the coach before the school year starts.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you'll have a network for your first day of school. You don't have to walk in that school and not know nobody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yep. It's those little things that I feel like that I value the most, even more so than just teaching.
Yeah, keep doing it.
Just having those opportunities.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Those big opportunities.
Keep doing it, man.
So I appreciate that, man.
Straight up.
I appreciate that a lot. For real.
Straight up.
So again, I appreciate you coming on the show.
Yeah, yeah.
I hope everybody, was able to take something away from this that's gonna help your life. Check the comment section for all the information that I'm gonna get from Nate as far as finding the team to put around you and make those phone calls, take those first steps.
Y'all hit Terry up. Tell him tell him bring me back. Tell him y'all need a regular reoccurring. You know what I'm saying?
Anytime, man. When you in Chicago, just hit my line.
All right.
Just hit my line.
Right.
And we could set up, you know what I'm saying, like this one. We made it happen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, as far as the time schedule. So whenever you're in Chicago, just hit my line.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
All right, for sure.